Now, we do have one quick more lightning talk up here, so I would like to welcome the brains behind our MSS, which is our managed services offering, Brodie Downs, to the stage.
Thank you very much, Bree, and thank you all very much for coming today. So, look, I started off with 15 minutes, then it went down to 12, now it went down to 10, so we're going to cover a lot of content very quickly. So, look, the way our industry has fundamentally tried to solve information security problems, really over the last couple of decades, it hasn't led to the level of maturity within most organisations that I think any of us really want to see. And that's because we're each individually trying to solve the problem exactly that, individually. We're basically trying to build individual information, the equivalent of an information security hospital inside of every single company. We're not actually trying to leverage economies of scale, and because of that, we wind up all trying to solve exactly the same problem over and over again. So the easiest way to actually compare this is when you wind up taking a look at some of the more mature professions that have been around. Take medicine and law. These things have been around for thousands of years. What do we do with medicine and law? We centralise. You've got centralised law firms, centralised medicine. You wind up getting a small number of people that understand your particular organisation, things like your general counsel. They're the ones that understand your business. And they can then get the right specialists in order to solve the right problem at the right time. That way you're not having to go and build your own hospital. Because if everybody went to build their own hospital, is there any wonder there'd be a staff shortage? So, I'll run you through the 5 mainline options. So the first one is generalists. So these are the kinds of people that start with your CISO. Now, these are the people that understand the nature of information security. They understand the vastness of the fields. There's hundreds of sub-disciplines within information security, and trying to have one person that actually understands it all is just completely fruitless. So with an in-house generalist team, you wind up getting the domain context, but the challenge there is actually driving your information security program maturity to higher levels, because a generalist just doesn't have those specialist skills you need in order to do things like deploy application whitelisting and deploy things like web app firewalls, as an example. This is where you really get the jack of all trades, master of none approach. Now, in-house specialists, these are essential to advance maturity within your organisation, but they're specialists in a very small number of areas. And within InfoSec, you've got hundreds of different sub-disciplines. So now, the challenge with an in-house specialist is that you can't just get one. You need a group of them because one supports the other. So this is where you wind up getting a detection engineer, but a detection engineer without threat intel, without security analytics, without all the other supporting roles around him, suddenly is ineffective. An easy way to think about this is imagine hiring a neurosurgeon without an anesthesiologist, without nursing, without a doctor, without a GP, without any of that. You've got a really expensive person that's going to stand there and can't actually operate. So, and that's where you get this bundle of skills. Now, option 3, outsourcing. Now, this can be a bit of a dirty word within IT because we typically associate it with offshore outsourcing. However, it's not usually a dirty word when you wind up thinking about it in the context of medicine and law. It's just a matter of course we outsource medicine. We outsource most of our specialist legal advice. And we do this because would you prefer to have somebody that actually winds up dealing with a particular legal matter every single day? That is their lifeblood. That's how they wind up actually making their revenue, or would you prefer to have somebody in-house that maybe has never dealt with that particular issue before? Now, option 4 is where we kind of take a bit of a look at body shopping. Now, this is a bit like in-house specialists. It's where we really wind up just getting contractors in order to solve the problem. Now, it solves a people problem, but it still runs into all the same issues that you wind up getting in terms of having in-house specialists. You still need a group of them in order to be able to actually effectively solve a useful security business outcome. Now, but this is really useful for specific, well-defined projects. So say, for example, that you need an audit conducted. You need to hit accreditation. Say you're going for IRAP protected accreditation. At that point, a team of people to support that is usually really well-defined. You've got defined inputs, defined outputs. It makes it very easy in order to resource something like that. And then you wind up coming to the hybrid in-source, outsource model. Now, this is where you combine the in-house generalist domain knowledge, so you wind up getting that business context. These people understand your organization, but you also wind up getting the benefit of actually having an external organization that can bring the right the right package of specialist skills to bear on a problem, because your in-house people understand that, we've got a particular problem with, say, insider threat. We need assistance with insider threat. So therefore, they can get the right ratio of external skills in order to solve that very specific problem. And that's where you wind up taking a look at security solutions, not as deploying a piece of tech, not even as hiring a person, not even writing a process, but in terms of actually being able to essentially purchase off the shelf compensating controls, manage compensating controls. So you're essentially getting a managed strategic security capability in order to solve a very specific problem. And this you can actually wind up expanding out. So one example that actually came up over the last couple of weeks is the concept of a midwife. Now, you can wind up getting a midwife that's with you throughout the entire term of your pregnancy, and they'll go all the way through to delivery. That midwife might deliver 12 babies a year. Alternatively, you can have one midwife with you throughout the entire period of your pregnancy, and then you hand over to a specialist delivery midwife that's delivered 12 babies that shift. So using this for information security, where are you going to get a better information security outcome from? And this is where InfoSec operating models are immature, mainly due to the relative infancy of the profession when contrasted against some of the more established professions like medicine and law. These things have been around for thousands of years. Information security has been around for a couple of dozen so far. So using IT as a template, if we wind up looking at some of these older established professions, we can figure out how did they ultimately solve things like the skills problem? How did they wind up solving these capability issues? How do you actually drive innovation? When every single organization is ultimately trying to do the same thing with a different group of people, then we don't want to getting any of the economies of scale. The advances that one company makes don't actually go to benefit another one at all, and as a result, information security just broadly across the board winds up suffering because everyone's trying to ultimately solve exactly the same problem over and over and over again. I'm sure a lot of you have joined different organizations and you wind up finding out that no matter which organization you work for, you're all roughly trying to solve basically the same problems. Wouldn't it be nice if we could actually centralize that knowledge in terms of actual solutions, not just another framework? So, otherwise, the one thing I'll leave you with today is just an open-ended question, which is, are you trying to build the information security equivalent of a hospital within your organization? And if you are, why? We believe there's a better way. Thank you.